What's up everyone, and welcome on back for another video here on my channel. Thank you as always for joining me on today's video. If you're one of my returning subscribers, welcome on back. And if this happens to be your first time stopping by on my channel, hello, I am Monet. I am 28 years old, and here on this channel I am documenting my financial journey. I have been utilizing the cash envelope system for now 4 years, and I've shared my entire progress here on my channel. I've shown how I've gotten out of debt with the debt snowball method, and now I am continuing to use this method to help me save. So if you're interested in learning about that, watching my journey, or you just enjoy watching this type of content, then please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and join the family. We would absolutely love to have you, and make sure that you hit the bell so that you are always notified whenever I upload my next video. So within today's video, we are going to be getting into another cash envelope stuffing. This will be my second paycheck that I am receiving from my full-time job, and if you are interested in seeing how I'm going to budget all of that out, then of course just keep on watching. All right, so getting started, as I said, we have the cash laid out right over here for us. And within today's cash envelope stuffing, we are going to be working with $605. We see here on my bank slip that is how much I took out of the bank. And this is just what I present to the teller to tell them exactly how I want my denominations. So when it comes to myself and how I do the cash envelope system, I do keep a portion of that within my checking account to pay for bills that I handle online or that are on auto pay. And then I take out the cash for things that I am stuffing for my variable expenses and for things that I put within my sinking funds. So I'm gonna go ahead and set aside the things that we normally do, and I will bring those back once we are ready. And I always like to get started with my variable expenses, which are the things that I carry within my wallet. So let me go ahead and take that out. All right, so here we go with that. And to get started with my entire paycheck, for this one, I received $2,158 from my job. And in terms of the bills that I decided to keep within the bank, I'm keeping $840 in my checking account for the second half of my rent. So with each paycheck, I set aside $840 for rent, so that then by the time the first rolls around, I have the full payment. So now that I have the complete total, I can now pay my rent on March 1st. After that, I have my utility bill that I was charged for. This is for water, trash, sewer, and for the month I was charged $35, so not too bad, and I kept that amount within there for that. Up next is my electricity bill, which is just slowly rising. My heat is funded through my electricity, so it's just normal during the winter time that this is going to be higher than usual. And for this paycheck, I had to set aside $198 to pay for that bill. And then the last thing is for my gas for my car. That's going to be $30 that I'm setting aside for that, and I just get my gas from Costco, so it's just easier for me not to deal with cash since they don't accept cash. But now that we have everything for the electronic bills taken care of, now let's go ahead and get started with my variable expenses and cash stuffing that. Also want to mention that I am doing the dollar challenge within these categories. So if I ever have any leftover dollars, I do set them to the side and then I add them to the jar. And at the end of the year, I count that jar to see how much I saved. So getting started with spending, that is only going to be getting $50 from this paycheck today. In terms of my variable expenses, a lot of them are quite lower than I typically do. And that is because I am leaving to go on vacation. So I'm going to be away from my home for about 2.5 weeks to go on my cruise. So since I'm not going to be home, a lot of these expenses are lower, and majority of my traveling, whenever I do go on vacation, I take out of my travel sinking fund. So these categories aren't really going to be impacted while I am away, but I still wanted to fund them just to support me so that when I come back, I have something to work with. So as I said, adding $50 for spending, and looking at what I had left over, I do have some singles, so I can set that to the side. And adding this, that will now put my spending with 50, 70, 90, 100, 110, 115, 120. Okay, so that is good, $120. That should be more than enough. I really only need to support myself for 1 week, because by the time I come back, I will be getting another paycheck. So that's another reason why the funds aren't really that much. Up next, we have groceries. Groceries is going to be getting $50, and I did 2 20s and 110. I've been doing very well with my groceries this month. I haven't been spending that much because in January I did more of a larger restock, and I've been able to work with that within February. And then I also don't want to overstock my fridge if I'm not going to be here. So adding $50 should give me a good amount. I'm going to set the dollar aside that I had left over, and rolling over the $50, that will now bring groceries to 100, 150, 170, 190, 210, 230, 250, 260, 270. All right, so that's $270, which is honestly more than enough for just myself. Up next, we move on to toiletries, and that is going to be getting $80. I did give this category a little bit more, and that is because I am getting my eyebrows done and my nails done in preparation for my trip. So I knew I was going to spend a little bit more in terms of toiletries for that. And I also like to tip the people who do my service, so I also added a little bit more for the tip to be included as well. But taking out 80, that's 20, 40, 60, 70, 80. And looking at what I have left over for toiletries, I have no singles. So in total, I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 5, 10. So that is $110 for toiletries, and as I said, majority of that will be used this weekend. Moving along, we have clothing, and if you watched my what I spend in a week video, which was the video I believe that was uploaded before this, I use a lot of my clothing. As I shared with you guys, I was saving up to buy some items, and that weekend I decided to go ahead and do that. So now I am only left with $10, and now I'm gonna slowly build that back up again for the next time I get the urge to buy some more clothes, and that's going to be $35. So I'm gonna do a 20, a 10, and a 5 for that. The same mentality that I had last year towards clothes is the same thing I'm doing this year. I have been getting rid of, I guess what they call like the fast fashion, or the things that I just feel like I don't wear anymore, and I'm trying to lean into more basics. So that is mainly what I've been focusing on to build my wardrobe. So adding $35, we now have 20, 30, 40, 45, and that is good. $45 for clothing. Next, we move along to eating out. That is getting $50. So I'm gonna do two 20s and a 10. And this $50 is a little bit more for my eating out, and I'm also accounting for what I am rolling into it, because I am going to my cousin's house a week before we actually leave for the cruise. So I'm gonna be spending a week at her home, and love my cousin, but she does not have food in her house. And I'm one to talk because I also don't have food. But when I bring company over, at least I try to add some food. But no, with her, it's like you fend for yourself. And basically that just leads into me just eating out. So I am just accounting for the fact that I know I'm gonna eat out a little bit more that week. So I'm adding a little bit more funds to support for that. Looking at eating out, I don't have any dollars to roll over. So adding the 50, we now have 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 95. So that gives me $95 to work with for eating out, and that should be good. But in terms of my variable expenses, that is everything. I think I am all set and ready to go. So adding these back into my wallet. All right, and I am ready to spend within there. And next we can go ahead and count our dollars and see what we saved. And this week it doesn't look like a lot. So we have $1, $2, $3, which, you know, is better than nothing, as I always say. But go ahead and bring out our jar and adding the $3, and we are good there. After that, I do also have the coin challenge, which is basically the same process. I'm just adding all the coins that I have each time I do a cash stuffing, and we're gonna count this up at the end of the year as well. All right, so that was a good amount added, and we are all set with the coins. So now we can go ahead and bring out my binder to get into my sinking funds. All right, so this is always my favorite part. I love watching my sinking funds grow, and they are truly the most important thing in terms of my budget. So Love my sinking funds always. But getting started with annual payments, we're gonna go ahead and add $20. So we will just do a $20 bill and adding 20. That will now put the envelope with 100, 150, 170, 190, 210, 230, 250, 270, 290, 295, 300. All right, so that's good. $300 saved up for annual payments, which is great. After that, we move into car maintenance. Car maintenance is going to be getting $20, so we will do a $20 bill. And looking at that envelope, we do have a $1,000 placeholder, so this just lets me know that $1,000 is within the bank, so I don't have to keep the physical cash in my envelope. So we have $1,000, and then in cash we have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 95. So that's $1,195 for car maintenance. I most likely will have to finally do my oil change when I come back. So I'll probably get that out of the way, and that will of course come out of car maintenance. Up next, we move into car insurance. That is getting $40. I pay my car insurance every 6 months, so I am saving up to make the payment for that. Adding 40 gives us 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90. So $290 for car insurance. Looking good there. I believe I either have 2 or 3 more months until that is due, so love watching that grow. Next up, it is Christmas. Christmas is getting $20, so a $20 bill as well. And now we have 20, 40, 60, 80. So $80 saved within there. And of course, we will be using this for Christmas time, so gotta save for that. Up next, we move into gifts. Gifts is getting $10. So adding 10, that now gives us 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 105, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's $109 saved within gifts. Next, we get into household. Household is getting $15, and this envelope is for any household things that I may need. I typically use it for home organization, or if I want any appliances, like I might get a vacuum cleaner. My vacuum cleaner, the last time I was using it, something was a little off with it. So I'm gonna try and look it up and see if I can fix it before I call it a quits. But this is basically what this envelope is for. So adding that now gives us 50, 70, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, 80. So that is $180 saved up within household, so that is great. Next up, we have medical, but medical is not getting anything. It has 540, so no need to add there. That is where I cap it, and then unless I use it, I will replenish, but if not, I keep it at 540, and that works for me. So moving along, we now have travel, which is, of course, is what is on my mind. I am so excited, so ready. So I wanted to bump up my travel with this paycheck because I was going to park my car at the airport, but since I now realize that I have to go to my cousin's house a week before I planned, that's basically an extra week that I have to pay to keep my car in the parking lot. And at that point, the cost wasn't worth it versus me parking my car or taking an Uber. So I just added that to my travel. And then I also am going to be checking my suitcase. I was on the fence on if I was going to do that or not. So I also take out any money. If I have to pay to check my suitcase, I'll take it out of travel. So all that to say, travel is getting $215, and that should be what I have left. So that is 100, 210, and 15. So looking at what I have, that will now bring the envelope to 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 550, 570, 590, 600, 10, 615, 620. All right, so 620, that is more than enough for my spending. And then I also have something else in mind that I will use my travel for when I come back, but we all know I'm constantly doing something pertaining to travel, so I can explain that when I get back. But as of right now, I feel more than supported on my trip, and that is my main thing when I travel. I don't want to stress about possibly coming back and being into debt. I like to know that I'm covered, and I know myself, I'm not going to spend more than $600 on this trip. So I am set and ready to go. So now that all of the physical cash is gone, that will complete the cash stuffing portion, and we can round out the video with my savings transfers. All right, so getting into the savings transfers portion for the remainder of my paycheck, I am focusing on my emergency fund and my Roth IRA. We know that that is one of my top goals for the year. So in regards to my emergency fund from this paycheck, I was able to set aside $250. So that will now bring our overall savings to $7,770 within my emergency fund. And we are working towards the $13,000 goal. So that is great, making progress, love to see it. And then after that, in terms of my Roth IRA, I did set aside $200 from this paycheck for that. And since I just started my contributions for 2025, that will now bring us to a total of $400 saved within there. And I am working towards the $7,000 contribution limit for that account. But in terms of everything that I've done with my paycheck, that is everything. And that will complete the breakdown and how I decided to budget my paycheck. So if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Definitely let me know down below by giving it a thumbs up. That really does help and support the channel, and I really appreciate it. And be sure to share the video with anybody that you think would benefit from it. I love when you guys tell me that you are sharing it with your friends, your family, your children. It is very humbling, and I just love to read about it. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end and you aren't subscribed, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave some comments down below. And with all of that, you guys, I will catch you all next time within my next video. Bye guys.